So again, good morning to each of you. I thank you guys for making the time to come and share with us. In this room, we have leadership of our various forms of government that impact education. I'm so thankful for Dr. Taylor for making the time to share with us, as well as a representative of Superintendent Dobart. We have folks who are interested in education, who are passionate about education, Teach for America, Stand for Children, the Black Alliance for Educational Options, the Louisiana Charter School Association, school administrators, other representatives of the community, school leaders who have invested in education in our community. And there is currently a lot of conversation about education in North Baton Rouge. In one man's opinion, unfortunately, so much of that conversation is about things such as governance or models of schools or funding and other things. And so the Better Baton Rouge Education Cluster thought that it would be interesting to have a conversation that focused on excellence in schools. And we would dare assert the premise that wouldn't it be wonderful if every school was excellent, regardless to its model, or regardless to who governed the school. And so we've invited some folks who have life experiences in schools in North Baton Rouge, be it social worker, current faculty, former school board member, community members, and most importantly, current students of schools, including my dear friend who's having a wonderful homecoming week. Ms. Maddie. And so we want to have a conversation. We invite those of you who are around to listen. There may be some moments at which we ask your thoughts on some of the things that are being discussed, but we welcome you to listen. There were supposed to be some listening guides that were to be shared with you for you to take some notes along the way. And so, Homer, if you would ask Ms. Matoir the location of the listening guides, we would appreciate that. And so why don't we get started with this simple question, and it is, when you hear the word excellent, and when you think of an excellent school, what does that mean for you? Go ahead. Speak loud.
To me, that means a school with the minimum amount of deficiency. You have good leadership, you have good teachers, you have good community support, and you also, that breeds good students.
Ms. Carroll?
For me, it also means quality leaders at the school. It means a quality, effective teacher in every classroom. It also means that the school has resources to meet the academic needs of the children and the social needs of the children, and they support families.
So let's stop and unpack a bit of that was said. The first thing that we heard in a couple of places was a strong leader at the school. What does a strong leader mean? What does that look like in a school setting? Yes.
To me, as a parent and a parent advocate, a strong, effective leader in a school setting is a stable leader. Our schools need stable, effective leadership. That person should have at least 5 to 10 years teaching in the area that they will be leading. They should have 5 to 8 years as an assistant principal. And when they become an executive of a school, they need mentorship. They need a leader from another school who has an effective, successful school to help them along. In addition, that person believes in the team concept. They believe that the school is a community and the community is the school. It should be reflective. It should address the needs of the students individually and prepare for that during the summer for the next year.
So let me ask you a question. How do we determine whether there's a strong leader in a school or not?
The strong leader continues to lead. They listen, advise, encourage their staff.
And we also determine that by how the leader is able to keep everyone in the school and outside of the school focused on the mission of the school, the vision of the school. The strong leader knows how to engage everybody. faculty, students, and parents.
One of the facts that I believe a strong leader must have, and one of the qualities, would be the investment and the love of the community. If you are going to be a leader of that school, you need to love that community. And we're talking about North Baton Rouge, and we know North Baton Rouge has a different demographic than maybe Southeast Baton Rouge. And so we need leaders who will love that demographic, and a leader who will be able to fill the capacities of faculty and staff with capable people, not necessarily people who are meet the qualifications at state standards with certifications. I believe a leader should be able to employ at least 30% that are not state standard certifications, because after all, our dear state board does not hire according to educational certification. So we need to be able to implement that as well on the high school level,
So,
or any level.
What I heard is a lot of things about this leader. One of the interesting things that emerged from this is the relationship between the school leader and, I would assume, by extension, the school and the community. How would you describe, Dr. Moon, how would you describe the relationship between the school and the community?
As it has already been mentioned about the engagement, that's paramount, but I think also in addition to that, there should be some knowledge. There should be some sensitivity and knowledge about that respective community. It's difficult to lead when you cannot identify or relate to the people who you are providing the service to. And in order to do that, you need to also know what the needs are, as well as the desires of the respective community. In addition to that, I want to also emphasize, in terms of advising, the engagement is one piece, but in terms of advising your faculty, if teachers need support or assistance in an area, that leadership, whether it be that single principal, lead principal, or someone on his academic team, should be able to go into the classroom and to assist the teachers.
And so I think we agree that there's a critical relationship between the leadership of a school and whether it's an excellent environment. But what else makes excellence for you? What would make an excellent school? Your school has gone through, you're at Astruma, you've gone through a great transition. You're at Glen Oaks, and there's been somewhat of a transition there. What's an excellent school for you?
Having structure and having the community and parents involved.
Having structure in the community and parents involved. Antonio, for you?
An excellent school to me would basically mean everybody coming together. We have leaders. We have, like she said, a structure. Everything is not disorganized, but yet decent and in order.
Okay. What else? What else do you think?
I
Tamara?
think it's being a teacher and listening to the students, and I agree with that. I think children need structure. I definitely believe that, but I think they need a loving structure. So my worry, my concern has been that we have become very much like corporate America in the way that we are leading and forced to teach, you know, and so the relationship, the capacity to build relationships is not there. You're told to do this. There is a checklist for what teachers have to do, and all of a sudden what I am in terms of a teacher is redefined according to this checklist. But I know as a woman, I know as a black woman, working and serving with predominantly black children, I know that these kids have a desire for what every child in the world has a desire for. This something you can count on and believe in every day. Somebody you can trust. If I'm here to teach, then you should be able to believe that I can teach you what you don't know. And so I wish for that. I wish for that working space as a teacher where I can truly bring what I know to the table and not just what is told to me in terms of a list of protocol and checklists for excellence.
What is the social environment like at an excellent school?
I would think that there would be a passion for coming to school and being in school, both for the leaders and for the faculty and also for the students. That, I mean, this was a great example of kids having a great time learning something, and I think there's some creativity there that goes beyond the checklist, as you were saying, that engenders the excitement of lifelong learning. I mean, if you sit in and you listen and you listen and you listen, I mean, even those of us who go to jobs every day, that's a pretty boring way to spend 8 hours a day. So I think the excitement and the passion and the relationship you build with your teacher, to come to school and see people that you know, that you love, and that you know love you back and want you there.
So we hear that it's a place that has a strong leader, that there's a connection to the community. People are passionate about it. There's creativity, yet there's structure that occurs. And so if those things were in place, would we have an excellent school? And if the parents were actively engaged in it?
Correct. And you have to engage the parents. Our parents, not just in this area, in the entire Baton Rouge community, are not being trained in what they need to do for school. People think that everybody knows what to do when your child goes to school. Nobody received an instructional manual when they received their children at the hospital after birth. There are no instructional manuals other than the Bible to tell you, to lead you and guide you. So you need a loving, caring, safe, secure environment for those children, and they need to never worry that love or security is in danger to them. Some children come to school and their parents are not encouraging them at home for whatever means or another. They need that hug in the morning in elementary school.
And some of us would, on behalf of many of the men in the audience, we're thankful that they didn't come with an instruction manual, because we'd mess it up and then have to go back and read the manual. We'd have to go back. Dr. Mims, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, when you think about engagement, you recognize that there are many parts, and you respect the fact that there is diversity in the people that come in terms of their knowledge base, their skills, and the services that they can provide, or the assistance that they can provide. And then you identify ways in which people can be engaged. When we talk about parental involvement and we speak that we want parents to be involved, but in some environments you say that, but you don't really mean that. And in terms of the engagement, you want the parents to come and do what you want them to do, like running off copies or running errands or whatever, but don't give any advice. And if you show up too often, you're problematic. So we can't say with our mouth that we want parents to be involved and then not be welcoming to them when they arrive, and having things for them to do and make them feel as if they are an important part of the process. An organization is just not for children. Wherever any organization exists, and there is the absence of organization, there is the absence of order, you have chaos.
Thank you for sharing. I'm going to go outside of the circle and ask Superintendent Taylor. And I'm when you think of an excellent school, as you have come to our community, what are your thoughts around what makes an excellent school, and what do you think about what you've just heard thus far?
I think what I've heard thus far talks about the components of. I'm more concerned about schools being effective, because we have a lot of excellent schools. And 9 times out of 10, people think of an excellent school as where kids are safe, where the basic necessities of education are provided probably more amply than often, and where people are generally satisfied. I'm not sure that an excellent school is always an effective school, but an excellent school puts you on the ground, lays the groundwork to be an effective school. An effective school is one where the total focus of everyone in the building is on student achievement. And that's from the custodian to the food service workers. Every adult who walks in that door knows what their role is in terms of student achievement. So what I've heard are important component parts to lay the groundwork to create an effective school that is striving towards excellence. So I think that we want to be excellent, and I'm not necessarily sure sometimes that in striving for excellence, we're laying the groundwork to be effective.
Thank you. So,
I think that,
thank you very much, Dr. Taylor. I'll start with Ms. Brandon. Go ahead.
Well, I think, I heard what the superintendent said, and I think, in some of, well, in my opinion and some others, we were using the term simultaneously, excellency and effectiveness. But one of the things that I would like to see, and we are addressing North Baton Rouge schools, to achieve excellency and effectiveness in our physical plant. Our school is built to serve 1,200 students. At one point this semester, we had 1,400, which means that we didn't have enough lockers for everybody. Students have to share, which means that if a student has to share a locker, and you know, books are very heavy these days. Their books weigh more than ours did when I was in school. So that means that you have to share, or you may not have a locker, and then that gives a child an excuse. You know, nobody should have an excuse, but I mean, that's a legal excuse. I have to find, you know, I have to go to this building to get that. So we need physical, equitable buildings throughout this system. North Baton Rouge buildings and physical plant are not as equal as some other physical plants in this district. When Scotlandville Magnet High School was remodeled in '04, they spent $12.5 million without instituting a new air conditioning or heating system. We're still running on the same original, I hate to use that double action, same air conditioning system that we had in the beginning. Whereas other schools get remodeled from the ground up, 54.6 million or whatever it is, and they get everything new. We need some adjustment in the physical quality of schools from in one side of this district to the next.
That becomes a question of equity. Yes. My question is, most of you were eager to chime in when the superintendent started the distinction between, and what were you going to say, Tamara?
I agree that I was thinking excellence and effectiveness at the same time, because I feel like we have to accept that not every school has this frame already, this frame of excellence, of magnet school, of high academic achievement. And so some of the schools that we're talking about reforming, some of the schools that we're talking about building up towards excellence, kids don't have the buy-in yet, nor do the parents. So you start here, you start with the buy-in, you have them, give them something to believe in, nor do the teachers have the buy-in. There is a panic among teachers that this whole arena has changed for us, and we're scrambling to find this really good working space. And so I think buy-in has to happen after people feel safe and cared for and believed in and valued. And we're talking about parents, and we're talking about children, and we're talking about teachers, you know.
So hold on just a second. Antonio, go ahead.
As a student of Glen Oaks High School, I do agree with the affection part of a school exceeding in excellence and effectiveness, because as a student, I know if I went to a classroom and I did not feel welcome, it would hinder my learning ability in that classroom.
Yes.
I would want the teacher to have a passion for me as a child and build a relationship with me, you know, as a one-on-one child. I feel that that teacher in that classroom should build a relationship with every particular child. And I honestly feel that will help the school come up as well.
And I want to emphasize what he said, because positive relationships are critical to our children in schools. And the only way you can do that, he just described that he wants to have a relationship with his teachers, each of his teachers. Well, the only way we could do that in schools in North Baton Rouge is to lower the teacher-pupil ratio.
That's right.
Because our children have different needs. Our children need attention. We are not meeting all of the needs of our children. That's why we have all of the issues in education. So let's lower the pupil-teacher ratio, and everybody can, they can connect with one another. Children will feel that someone really cares. He used the word passion. He wants his teachers to feel passionate about him as a student.
So let me add, we've talked a great deal about this effective, excellent school and the components of it. The question is, today, particularly in North Baton Rouge, what's getting in the way of every school being an excellent or an effective school, in your opinion? Let's start with you. I want you to speak.
I think what's getting in the way is the job and not the mission.
Thank you.
People have to,
His comment was that it is, for many, the job and not a mission.
people come to work to keep a job. The mission should be that every child, each day, a teacher should feel that he or she had been successful in dealing with at least 50% of the children that they deal with on a daily basis.
What else is getting in the way? What's preventing us from having a system of a school system that has excellence in every place? I'm coming to Mary.
I think a lot of it, in my opinion, is that the children come with such a varied level of knowledge foundation and basis. And you come into a classroom and you'll have kids who have excellent skills and kids who are just trying to get the minimum skills. And asking a teacher to provide a challenging education for that variety of kids is very difficult. And I think it takes either more adults or fewer kids or more creativity. Because every day I think kids are falling through our hands, and we need to work together, both the school and the community, to build a safer net for those children to be able to come to school and to start where they are and to succeed greatly in whatever that might be for them.
More adults, fewer kids, or more creativity. It was an interesting combination. Matt?
Well, I think more motivation from your teachers and your parents. If you're not motivated to do anything, you're not going to succeed, and you're not going to be willing to try. So I think more motivation from the teachers.
So to kind of answer that in response to the question, then in some instances a lack of motivation, both at home and at the school, is getting in the way of an excellent school. Antonio, and then I'll come to you, Jack.
I personally believe what's getting in the way of an excellent school would be the look, as she said earlier. Students,
The building, the way the building looks.
yes, sir, the buildings. If I go to a school and it's dark and it's gloomy all the time, I'm gonna feel dark and gloomy at that school. I'm not gonna put my best foot forward. I'm not gonna do exactly what everyone else would do had I passed by a multi-million-dollar school. And I'm up in there and I got bright lights like this here.
Yeah, there's nothing dark and gloomy about this
Nothing
place, is
at all.
there?
Nothing at all. If I was in this setting like I saw those kids up there, I'd run to school dancing every day. I go to school happy.
Jack?
One of the things that the superintendent said that really stood out for me.
Speak up a little bit more.
One of the things that the superintendent said that stood out for me was an effective school, the relationship between an effective school and academics, which then spoke to me that have we truly defined what schools are and what the role of schools are so that we could truly understand what the mission of a school is. Having served on the board for 14 years, there's often this expectation that schools are supposed to address a number of the social ills related to every community. But yet schools were not designed to do that. So if I was not designed to do that, then how can I then deliver it? Well, then you expect people within the school environment to deliver something for which they were not trained or qualified to deliver.
So one of the things that's preventing us from experiencing this excellent or effective schools then is in fact that schools are being asked, and by schools we obviously mean the people, the leaders, the teachers in the schools, are being asked to deliver on a set of skills and responsibilities for which the structure was never intended to do.
Exactly. And he talked about various components. There are various components, and we've talked about a number of them this morning, to include all of those issues in North Baton Rouge that are related to poverty. I live in 70805. I've been in 70805 for 30 plus years, which is supposed to be the highest crime district in our parish or area in our parish. So there are a lot of social ills that come to school with the child that impacts the learning process, that impacts the environment at the schoolhouse, that impedes the learning process. And unless we understand that and we are equipped to some degree, I'm not saying being able to address it all, Because I'm kind of with, like Bernadette says, we don't get this instructional manual when children are born, and I'm opposed to having the baby and then us as the school going in the house getting the baby and we gonna raise the baby and train the baby. I'm opposed to that too. But I do think that we have to be sensitive to all of those elements that impedes the learning process. One of the things that we say in psychology, I teach psychology and I teach special ed, I have 2 doctorate degrees. But what we say in psychology, if there is no change in behavior, if we don't see any observable change, learning didn't occur. All you did was provide information. If there is no change, meaning that the organism itself has some change, then learning didn't occur. You just wasted your time.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Karen.
I'd like to respond to what Dr. Mims said regarding the schools may not, the people in the school building may not have the capacity to deal with some of the social ills that students bring to us. But I worked as a counselor for many years in EBR, and it was my responsibility as a counselor to connect with every community agency to assist families with whatever their needs may be. Because families need help, and they come to the school for help, and there aren't people in the school who are trained to help with social ills that parents are experiencing. So although it's not everybody in the school building, there is somebody in the school building who is trained to work with agencies, community agencies in the community to make sure parents are getting their needs met.
Can I?
Hold on just a second, I'll come back.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to address my good friend Jackie. Both of us have a doctorate in special ed. I'm in agreement that all of the social ills cannot be met by the school in-house. I'm in agreement with my friend right here that there should be someone on the campus to direct parents to the agencies. But here's what we don't have. We don't have enough counselors on staff to service the number of students that we have. They're operating between registrars of students, counseling when they can, contacting agencies when they can, providing individual graduation plans for 1,200 students to teachers who have to use that in their curriculum, Journey to Careers, Education for Careers. Guidance counselors are just, they need a camel sack of water or something like that. We need somebody to be employed just as a registrar in a school so that perhaps guidance counselors can be freed up to do what guidance counselors do.